quickly discuss with you about marijuana. As it becomes more normalized in our culture, as tobacco did years ago, it will eventually be considered something that is benign and can be used on a daily basis. The edible pot industry, the smoking marijuana industry is really pushing this right now. There are things such as pot tarts instead of Pop-Tarts. There are things such as that are in the candy wrappings like Butterfingers to attract children. Just as the tobacco industry did this years ago, it is trying to attract children and teens, the time in their lives when their brains are very vulnerable to substances. Now, is marijuana good for medicinal use? Absolutely. For pain and vomiting, it works much better for many issues than some of the regular narcotics that we have that lead to problems. But using this for a person who medically doesn't need it is not necessarily the most helpful thing for you to do. And children nowadays and teens, the #2 drug in high schools now is no longer tobacco or e-cigarettes. It is now marijuana. And #1 continues to be alcohol. And I say to parents, please look at your own alcohol drinking, because kids are absolutely right when they say to their parents, you drink so much, why can't I do pot? Pot is safer. Not necessarily, and I'll explain why, but it's still a problem. And we need to be very cautious and careful about it. I just want to read quickly to you the things that marijuana can do. There was a very good study of about 3,000 people over 19 years where they did serial neuropsychological testing on regular marijuana users and those who were intermittent marijuana users. And what they discovered is a very significant problem. You can lose as much as 8 IQ points if you use marijuana on a daily basis. And that is major concern. You can increase your risk of schizophrenia, especially if there's a family history of schizophrenia, as much as 5-fold. In places such as Colorado, there's been a 110% increase in auto deaths related to marijuana. 1/4 to 1/3 of auto deaths in teenagers and young adults in Massachusetts had marijuana involved. This is a serious public health problem. There may be an increased risk of cancer later in life due to regular use that may even be potentially lung cancer. And please remember that your kids are the ones being marketed to with this. And other concerns, here at McLean's Psych Hospital, they've done some studies, MRI studies, functional MRI studies of the brain and structural MRI studies, and they found that teenagers that use marijuana have a thinning of their white matter on a regular basis in their brain. So we do know that it does change the wiring of the brain as well. There are other concerns with marijuana that we don't even know yet. Secondhand marijuana smoke. We have no idea what that does. When a child or teen takes pot, it slows the electrical activity in the brain for up to 96 hours, which means if they smoke marijuana and they drive the next day, it may affect their driving for several days, #1. #2, if they're taking the test and they use marijuana to relax, it will slow the electrical activity in their brain for up to 96 hours prior to, say, for example, taking the SATs. So these are some major concerns, and we don't even know what the long-term effects could be potentially with this. The best thing for teenagers to do is not to experiment with marijuana. Now, I have a book today. It's called The Pot Book. I'm a bit mixed about some of the authors in here, but there is an excellent section in here on marijuana use and the effects on the brain and potential long-term effects. I urge you to consider getting this book and reading it and becoming informed. This will give you a sense, an ability to talk to your children about marijuana, because marijuana, it comes in hundreds of thousands of different forms, and it's key and crucial that we as families realize that we need to fight that this is not the social norm. Marijuana is not the social norm. Remember this, 88% of the drug admissions to psychiatric hospitals had marijuana involved. Thank you and have a good day. This is Dr. Lester Hartman from Westwood Mansfield Pediatrics, proactive in your child's care. Anything we said here today is meant for our patients, and if you are from another practice, you may want to seek the advice of your own pediatrician or family practice. Have a good day.